What's up, y'all? It's Bilansley here again, back on Fondue Sauce, my Witch Doctor main. Today, we're going to do a little video that we're actually streaming live right now, so for everyone on Twitch TV watching that, thank you for watching. Uh, as you can see in the title of my video, this is a experimental build that I've been messing around with. Lowers my DPS quite a bit. I will go in and show you sort of my gear setup and the skills that I use. As far as survivability goes, still really high armor, lots of intelligence, lots of vitality. My AR is still about 800, so survivability wise it hasn't really affected. My magic find actually goes up a little bit, but my baseline DPS goes from 167 down to 7384. But don't freak out, guys, because I promise you this is going to be the new thing. This is going to be the new Witch Doctor build. I can already feel it. And once this catches on and people realize how broken it is, I wouldn't be surprised if Blizzard nerfs this at some point. But basically, as the title states, this is a build based around using Sacrifice, which is my right-click skill. And that's the skill that basically detonates your zombie dogs to do big time AoE damage. Primary setup, still running Rain of Toads, the Plague of Toads rune, again just for the life on hit. Really helps out with sustainability. Does pretty good constant DPS. Obviously, since this is an Exploding Dogs build, Sacrifice is important. Now the next of kin rune is also really important to use because of the fact that it has a chance to proc another zombie dog when one of them explodes. So on top of having your cooldown and summoning your dogs, you have an opportunity for each of the dogs that you explode to spawn a new one. So you could potentially spawn 3 new dogs just from that. Next, obviously, we have summon zombie dogs. You can't use the sacrifice without zombie dogs. The final gift is really good because when they explode and die, they leave behind health globes, which, since I use since this is still a build that kind of requires you to run into a shitstorm and be right up in everyone's face, gives you a lot of sustainability as well. I decided to keep the Cloud of Bats. I moved that to my number 2 skill key. Again, because it kills enemies really fast, it still procs really hard with crits, and Cloud of Bats is good for just doing AoE damage for enemies that are right on top of you. That works really synergistically with Circle of Life, because every time an enemy dies within a radius, there's a chance for it to proc another zombie dog. So ideally, I mean, I've had streaks using this build where I've just spammed blown up zombie dog after zombie dog after zombie dog, and just never-ending streams and just melted through shit. As I've said before in other videos, always I use Spirit Walk, Healing Journey, that's my standard evasion, maneuverability setup, and then Soul Harvest, obviously, for the AoE nuke and for the DPS stacks. Keeping Graven Justice because, again, since this is sort of an up-close in-your-face play style, this helps reset the cooldowns on your zombie dogs, as well as giving you a little more sustainability through the 2% life and the 2% mana that you get from enemies that die within the radius. Circle of Life, we already talked about how that procs additional zombie dogs when enemies die within a radius, and then Tribal Rights, which gives you a 25% cooldown off zombie dogs. Really the big thing with this build as far as gear goes is it's all about getting your zombie dog cooldown as little as possible. There are a couple of items that you can get that do it. voodoo masks, which are the witch doctor specific helmets, all have a chance to roll a up to 8 seconds, I believe, cooldown on zombie dogs. Then there is the Mara's Kaleidoscope amulet, which can also roll an additional 8 seconds. And then the Skullgrass Ring can roll, I believe, up to 8 seconds. And then a Stone of Jordan can roll up to 8 seconds. But the big one that I think is kind of necessary, and as you can see I've switched out for a two-hander, we'll show you my gear here real quick, is this is kind of a gear dependent build just because of the fact that you do need the zombie dog cooldown. My particular Visage of Gaia that I got has a 5-second cooldown reduction, and then I also have a Homunculus, which is actually not even a level 60 plus item. It's a 57 level item, but it's basically just for the fact that it can roll up to 20% or 20-second cooldown. Mine has 16. I was really just kind of messing around with the build, so I didn't want to invest a lot of money in it. That's why I didn't buy perfect rolls on it. So in addition to the 25% cooldown, I have 16 plus 5, which is an additional 21 seconds of cooldown. So my reset is really fast, but you can actually get this build to the point, if you get the items that I discussed earlier, to where it's just insta cooldown and you can just spam zombie dogs. But you'll see with the playstyle, I don't really have too many issues. I can keep zombie dogs up and still melt through stuff. Other than that, my gear is entirely the same as you've seen before, with the exception of this Managula's carving knife. Again, I just bought a cheap one. Int bit, 99% crit chance, didn't want to spend the money on a socket, and the lifesteal is pretty nice. So right now I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I've lowered it down to MP2 just because I do have lower DPS, but really I still at full stacks have 395 MF, and I kill things. You'll just see with the build. So actually I'm thinking, I might start running this build a little more often just because it seems to be pretty efficient and it's really fun. I mean, blowing up zombie dogs and melting big packs of enemies always is good stuff. So on that note, drink a little brewski brew, and we will go ahead and select quest, resume game, and I'm basically just gonna port back to town here real quick and do a quick little key run for y'all. Just do a quick Sky Crown battlements, and god damn it, had a few beers tonight. Sky Crown battlements and then Stone Fort. But as far as fire bats and soul harvest work, you're still going to use those the same, but as the other build that I showed you. But just watch the dogs and notice how often they will soul harvest these guys, blow these up. There you can see I had just finish them off with Little Cloud of Bats. My cooldown's already reset on Zombie Dog. Again, the cooldown's almost already reset because of Grave Injustice. When there's small amounts of packs, now like things like this, I'll just blow them up. Again, my cooldown's already reset, so I'll go ahead and blow those guys up again. Finish these guys off with that, and there you can see it procced another Zombie Dog, couple more there. My cooldown's reset. And even though I don't even really have like a quote-unquote uber setup for this, the really broken insta cooldown build, it's pretty damn easy on MP2. The trick is you want to save it for bigger mobs and not waste your exploding dogs on just like single target enemies. but if you just watch the cooldown on my zombie dogs, it's already pretty high. Go ahead and take care of these guys. Throw little bats in there, and as you can see, this is also a really mana efficient build. If you watch my mana meter, the amount of DPS that I'm doing relative to the amount of mana I'm using is very, very good. We got a little reflect damage action here going on. Got to be careful with reflect damage, just because those doggies crit, they will take you down a peg or two. But you can see, I mean, these elites, they're almost done already. I keep getting fucking caught in this nonsense here. So we're gonna kite them back, resummon zombie dogs, use a potion, heal up a bit, use some plague of toads to regain some life, and I'm gonna take care of this stupid asshole. I hate these prophets, they're just annoying. And one more spirit walk over to this globe, and then we'll go ahead and blow those dogs up. Respawn them, grab a health globe. This is not good. That was stupid of me, but case in point is the zombie dog build is really powerful. Really had no reason to die there, but these molten frozens are kind of gnarly. They'll get you if you're not careful. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I have definitely had a few drinks tonight, so I'm not quite on my A game, so to speak. Some herb. Situations like that where there's only like one or two mobs, there's really no reason to sacrifice your dogs. It's sort of a waste. Like on this guy's, for example, there's no reason to blow up all three of your dogs just for a single creep. But this right here is fucking GG. And without even having to use my cooldown, I've already procced 2 additional dogs. I think after actually I get a 5-stack, I might jump over to the depths real quick for y'all, so that you can see sort of what's up with you know, some real close quarters melty melts, since that's what everybody loves to see. But we'll finish Sky Crown here as a little demo of the freaking exploding dog build, as I like to call it. I mean, these little puppies are nasty. They'll do some work. And this build is also actually really good for duo farming. You've seen Eriku, the barb, that I farm with a lot, and I don't know if I've done any streams or videos on us with me using this build, but I mean, we can still do higher MP levels, even though I do take quite a bit of DPS hit, just because of, I mean, the raw damage that these dogs are able to do. The one thing you got to remember with this build though is to keep dogs up at all times. I mean, there's situations where you use them and they won't respawn, and then you'll forget. And then you'll come into a situation where you need them and you don't have them, and it does take a second. There's a little pause and delay while you summon, and that can be death if you're caught in a really just shitstorm elite pack. Looks like we got another elite pack. Go ahead and grab the shrine. These guys, I'll soul harvest them to get the DPS, and then go ahead and engage these guys. Dogs are up, so get them out to do some work. The one disadvantage that I would say, if any, to this build is that when you're fighting elite packs, because you usually kill the trash around them a lot quicker than you do the elite packs, and since I don't have the insta cooldown gear set for this, I have to rely a lot on auto attacking, or my cloud of bats, to do the damage. And because my damage output is lower, it's not quite as effective as it is when I use my gear build that has 167k DPS. But at any rate, as you can see, I mean, MP2 is pretty much just a non-factor. Fairly easy, moving through pretty quickly, and really not skipping that many mobs. I mean, to be honest, we're clearing probably 90% of the creep density, which is very good. And one thing that'll be kind of cool, you'll probably get to see me ding here in a second. Hit level, what am I at, 47, so I'll be 48. But yeah, I mean, you can see that even with 70,000 damage, which is less than half of what I normally run with, I mean, this build is able to definitely handle MP2 with no issues. And honestly, I still have a lot of MF. Let me run back here, and yeah, I'm still only at 2 stacks, and I have 330 MF already, which, to be honest, as long as you're killing creeps really fast, that's pretty sufficient in terms of MP. I can only just imagine that if you had godly gear with the cooldown reductions and high damage output, just how silly this build would be. I mean, it would just be absolutely good game. And like I said, it's fun. It's kind of different. It's this little switch up from what I normally do. Bit of a different play style than what I'm normally used to, but so far, even though I consider this still an experimental temp build, or sort of a build that I will use not all the time, it's pretty damn good. Oh man, I'm getting the yawns. I had to do some, I put in some work on Diablo tonight though, so. Oh yeah, this pack over here, that's going to be fun stuff. and just continually, I mean, you can just look at the reset timer on the dogs, and as stuff just dies around me, uh, it's just unreal. Um, it seems like, based on auction house pricing, that this build is somewhat catching on. People are using some modified version of what I'm using in this build, because I've been looking on the AH and I am stuck, which is shit. That's good though. And really good rolled items that have the zombie dog cool reduction, like the skull grasp and the maras and stuff like that. They're commanding a pretty premium price right now. So obviously people are realizing the power of this build, and thus the cost of items has increased accordingly. To be honest with you guys, I haven't really decided yet how much money I'm going to invest in a specific gear set for this particular build, but so far it seems pretty good, and I really wouldn't mind getting, maybe one additional piece just to use that gives me maybe another 4 to 5 seconds cooldown on the zombie dog, and if I do that, I'll be pretty much at the insta cooldown point. My biggest fear, though, with investing money in sort of like a really gear specific build like this is that Blizzard tends to nerf builds like this that are so OP. Like I said before, I mean, you can only imagine that if I had 167k unbuffed DPS with this build, it would pretty much be cake. I could farm high level MP with ease. I love that when I see those zombie dogs just automatically emerge after an enemy dies or after I use sacrifice. Yeah, hopefully we'll find the keyword pretty quick here. I don't really feel like searching around for them. That was beautiful. That was a sacrifice with a insta respawn, so I didn't have to use my cooldowns or anything at all. And that's always fun. Reset these cooldowns here. Just annihilate this pack of trash. Looks like we got some elites down here. What do we got? Desecrator, Waller, Frozen Fast. Yeah, these are nothing. These guys are fucked. If I can just stay out of the Desecrator and not get walled in, I should probably pull these guys up here so I have a little more room to work. Oh yeah, those guys are done. And this is the kind of packs that I like. I mean, honestly, with these, I don't even, you can sacrifice the dogs, but just the bats and soul harvest alone, in a lot of cases with trash, um, it may not even be worth it because you kill them so quickly with just your other skills. Got the key warden here. Hopefully, we'll see something nice drop. Um, The only issue with Key Warden using this build is since there's usually a lot of trash around him, um, they tend to aggro everything but the Key Warden, and that can be kind of annoying. Now, like right now, but as you can see, I've already done pretty good DPS to this guy. Summon doggies, and as soon as they're on him, blow them up. Go in, get little fire bats on them, keep hitting them with toads. And you can see the life on hit proc as well. I mean, I can just pretty much stand in his ice and eat his attacks, and it doesn't really even phase me that much. There we go, that was GG. And of course, I would be streaming live and not get a legendary, but that's really all I wanted to show you guys as far as Exploding Dogs build goes. Feel free to comment and kind of make your own assessment of it. Try it out. It's pretty fun. For a couple million gold, you can invest in a cheap passage and a homunculus and some things to get you where you need to be to run this effectively. And don't worry too much about losing a lot of DPS. I mean, unless you're already really low DPS, then it might be an issue. But I mean, if you're already sitting at 120k plus unbuffed with your normal build, then you might want to try this out. It's actually pretty fun. So on that note, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm gonna go grab another beer, and I'll be back on in a little bit for some live streaming. Have a good night.